that's what it is. I hope YouTube not targeting me. Bad. I always feel like I'm being targeted though. It wouldn't be nothing new. So yeah, let's finish watching this shit.
To do that, I was gonna kick. I have a Suboxone, which is like the thing that you take to get off heroin. I was like, I have a Suboxone. I was gonna kick, but I can't kick outside. You know, what am I supposed to do? And he said, I mean, you could get clean. And for some reason, even though I'd been told stuff like that for years, I don't know why. In that moment, I remember just sitting down and thinking, like, fuck, like, should I try that? I am working so hard to make drugs work for me. Like my whole life.
Man, that is crazy. I always say the same thing with when I see criminals, not even people on drugs. When I see criminals working so hard to be a criminal, you know, doing all this stuff, man, to putting so much energy into being bad, doing wrong, and it's like it never dawned on them that all these problems they may have, going back and forth to prison. I'm really thinking about the scammers. A lot of these young guys be scammers, man, and I'd be like, man, y'all putting all this energy into stealing, and now you worried about, they be worried about catching cases, behind scamming. And it never dawned on them that they could just go get a job, put channel that energy into going to school, getting a trade, channel all that energy into starting a legit business, putting all that energy into something constructive. That's that's what I be thinking. The same thing this young lady said. She was working so hard to be a drug addict and make drugs work for her. You know what I mean? Instead of just getting clean. You know, and a lot of people, I think, it just, like she said, like, damn, a light bulb moment going off, like, damn, maybe can I get clean? Like, let me try that. Yeah, let me try to be good. Let me try for once to be a good person and do good and clean my life up. So yeah, it's the same thing I feel about the scammers and the criminals. You know, they worried about getting caught up, getting jammed up, going to prison. Man, I'm gonna pray for you, Jeff. Yeah, I'm gonna pray for you, man. I'm gonna pray for you, bro. You gotta try something different, man. Try to clean your life up. Watch this lady, man. It's soft white underbelly.
Has become about passing drug tests for people. My whole life is just about passing a piss test for this person or that person, you know? And should I try that? But I had been, and this is one of the things I always try to share with people that are also addicts.
Damn, Skippy,
I
why you
had
do
been
that?
trying, right? Like nobody wants to live that way. And I had been trying. Every time I went to rehab, I really did the things, you know, and I would use anyways. And I couldn't get more than 90 days, you know? So he says that to me, but I had a little bit of dope on me and I didn't want to stop that night. And so when he came back the next day, I called a connect of mine, you know, my heroin drug dealer, and I was like, hey, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I got kicked out of my sober living. I don't know where I'm gonna go. And he said, well, I have a place you can stay. You can stay in my
Damn, Jeff, why
house
you do
in my
that?
yard. And I
I'm
was
gonna
like,
pray for you,
really?
brother.
Okay,
Pray for
awesome.
you
For
right
sure.
now.
Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you. And so my friend brought me over to this alley, and I walked in the gate, and it was more of like a little, I always tell people it's like a little shed. And
Dang,
there
Jeff,
was like a
you gotta
dog there on
stop.
the ground, and he let the dog go inside and let me stay out there in this little shed for 3 nights. And he padlocked me in from the outside at night. But one of the things I think I've like not included in the story is that he was also like a friend of mine, so I didn't feel kidnapped. You know, I was in there like voluntarily, and he was like bringing me heroin and bringing me meth. And so I spent 3 nights in that doghouse. And like one of the nights he opened the padlock and let someone in there for a few hours. And the last night that I was there, I was smoking meth, shooting heroin. I had a compact with like a light on it so that I could pick my face in the dark. So I was like a really bad picker. And I was
Damn.
doing a crossword puzzle, the San Diego Reader, with my little light because I felt like it would like keep my brain working if I could do these crossword puzzles, right? So I'm like doing a crossword puzzle, smoking meth, picking my face, and
Damn. Hold on. This shit crazy.
go inside and let me stay out there in this little shed.
Damn. Hold up.
Okay, awesome. Are you sure? Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you. And so my friend brought me over to this alley, and I walked in the gate, and it was more of like a little, I always tell people it's like a little shed. And there was like a dog mat on the ground, and he let the dog go inside and let me stay out there in this little shed for 3 nights. And he padlocked me in from the outside at night. But one of the things I think I've like not included in the story is that he was also like a friend of mine, so I didn't feel kidnapped. I was in there like voluntarily, and he was like bringing me heroin and bringing me meth. And so I spent 3 nights in that doghouse. And
Damn.
like one of the nights he opened the padlock and let someone in there for a few hours. And the last night that I was there, I was smoking meth, shooting heroin. I had a compact with like a light on it so that I could pick my face in the dark. So I was like a really bad picker. And I was doing a
Damn.
crossword puzzle, the San Diego Reader, with my little light because I felt like it
Yes.
would like keep my brain
Yeah.
working if I could do
Thank you,
these
Mind Your
crossword puzzles, right? So
Greens.
I'm like doing a
Yeah,
crossword
thank you,
puzzle,
man.
smoking meth, picking my
Let's,
face, and
listening to this story, man, and it's just, it's sad. I've been to rehab. I've been to rehab 3 times. And I thank God for going to rehab. Rehab, oh man, it just changed my life when I went to rehab, and I, had the opportunity to sit in there with people going through the exact same thing that she talking about. Um, I didn't know this was 2013, just 12 years ago when I went to rehab for the first time. I did not know that it was a drug epidemic as bad as it was, the opioid crisis. Yeah, thanks, bro. Appreciate you. Or thanks, Queen. Appreciate you. Um, I did not know that it was such a bad. I was married with kids. Had been married 12, 13, 14 years. Had 3 children, 4 children at the time when I went to rehab for the first time. And like, I was in a bubble. I didn't know that it was so much. Yes, it is, man. Like, it's a real form of captivity. To see what was going on in my area, a lot of people from my city was in there. I went to the same rehab place that Eminem went to get clean. It's called Brighton Center for Recovery. I need to go back there and just talk with some of the people that still work there. Everybody that worked there were in recovery, and great group of people, counselors, the place, the people that ran it, the administrative people. They were all great people, and a lot of the addicts, the people that was recovering in there. A lot of them that I met, they were from where I'm from. A lot of them was real young, 18. Man, young babies to me. I was in 2013. I was 36. So I'm older. I was one of the older people in there. I wasn't one of the oldest. We had people in, we had doctors in there, we had clergy. Clergy, that's, religious people. We had religious people, doctors, lawyers, law enforcement. I met people from all over, like so many professionals, shop workers like me. I work in a shop. Work for General Motors. Um, yeah, a bunch of people from all walks of life, and kids. Like I said, kids was in there. Um, help more get. Yeah, exactly, man. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Because when you see that stuff up close and personal, a lot of people don't see that. I met people. A lot of my people that's on social media with me to this day are recovering addicts. And what's sad, a lot of people that I met in there have died since then. I didn't keep up with them. Sometimes I think about them and I look them up on social media. We friends on social media and I look them up and then I see in memory of. When you go to a Facebook page or yeah, mostly Facebook, and you trying to, maybe, see, catch up with somebody's social media and see how they living and you see in memory of, man, that shit fuck with you. Man, that shit fuck with me, man. I'm talking about young people, young men and women that I'm thinking about. Let me see what this person doing. Let me see what that person doing. And then they say in memory of, they gone. Like, wow. Then you try to go back to their last post. That's something I always do. I try to go back to the last post somebody might have made before they passed away. And man, a lot of times that it's like they know that they not gonna be here. That last post that they make, man, it be sad to see like, damn, they was living this day, and then the next time you see anybody posting on their channel or on their page, they, reminiscing about them, talking about the good times they may have had with them. And it just be one of the saddest things when you haven't kept in contact with somebody and you see that they are no longer in the living and that they most likely succumb to drugs. It's the saddest shit in the world. But a lot of people that I know anyway, they have never had that up close and personal connection with people that's on drugs, on hard drugs, a bunch of them all at one time. And I'm gonna say this, I was blessed enough to be able to meet a lot of those people. These are some of the best people I've ever met in my life. Um, to hear their stories, to know them in that they're trying to clean their lives up, see them working hard, really trying to get themselves back on track. I was in there for alcohol, but it's the same. The underlying issues is the thing that connect us. It's not the drugs. It's the underlying issues. It's the stuff that make you want to use alcohol or drugs. That's the problem. It's not the drugs themselves. It's the underlying issues, like the stuff that this lady talking about. So yeah, let's watch a little bit.
They
Hopefully
saw
y'all stay here.
another one of these Marine guys that I had met,
She's
that was actually
beautiful.
friends with
Look
the
at
brother
her.
I'd been using with, call and said, hey, I'm
Beautiful
back
lady.
from, I think he'd been in Afghanistan also, and said, hey, I'm back, I'm out at 29 Palms, what are you doing? And I said, I am living in a doghouse in Oceanside, and I think I'm gonna die. And he said, okay, that's it. If I come for you, will you come with me? And I said, yes, I will. And said, there's like a Burger King right there. And so
She
the next day,
goddess, man.
I like
I
walked
feel
to
like
that
all
Burger
women are
King. I don't know why I'm
goddesses.
getting emotional. I've told this story so many times. But like, I had stolen from this person before. There was no real reason for him to like trust me. So, anyways, I went to the Burger King and I called my mom, and she stopped by the Burger King on her way to church, and I wanted $5 to buy cigarettes, and she wouldn't give me any money. She gave me a Cliff Bar and some vitamin C tablets. And I remember thinking, like, I don't want this shit. And I remember saying the same thing to her. I was like, dude, so you're gonna like make him buy me cigarettes? So he brought me out to 29
Pretty
Palms, which
toes.
is like a military base, and I kicked heroin for
Pretty
the last time.
toes.
And that was January 15th, 2015.
Okay,
And
10 years
from
ago.
there, trying to share with people is that I had no belief at all, that this would work for me. I mean, fucking none. I felt like such a loser woman, 34, 35. I didn't have a bank account. I didn't have an ID. No car, obviously. Like, I'm a
Damn.
felon now. I've been arrested all these times. And I just felt like my life was never going to change, you know? And the only reason I even stopped that time was because I was just tired of being homeless, you know? Like by the end, I almost would have rather have gone to jail again, you know? I just couldn't stand being homeless anymore. And while I was out there at his house,
Wow.
you know, I
You
had,
know what? I believe a lot of people that's in jail, that were homeless, they go to jail to have a home. That's crazy. Like when you think about it, like a fully functional person like me, like it's kind of out there, that thought, but it makes sense, I guess. You know what I'm saying? If you homeless, you don't have nowhere to go. You don't have a home. I guess when you in jail, you at least got a home. Like it sounds crazy, but what this lady just said is she's rather go to jail again. And I think a lot of people that end up in jail, especially from the crack time, from the cracks, people on crack, the crack crisis, a lot of them went to jail because they was out here homeless. They'd rather go to jail than be homeless. Yeah.
friend that owned a sober living, and he let me move to the sober living. And I share that also because the people that have relapsed a lot, like I just felt like all the relapses were such a sign of my character as a person and like what a failure I was, you know? And what was true though was that I already had a sponsor when I was there, and I knew this guy that owned a sober living. And so all of those relapses, all those times that I came in, they weren't failures. Every time I came in, I was gathering resources and knowledge, and they were available to me
Real
when I was
talk.
ready to execute on that information, you know? And so, like, someone that's
Hmm.
been in and out for a long time, you
Yep.
probably know
It's not a
someone that can
failure.
sponsor you if you want to do 12 step, you know? Like, we've got these
Yeah, I like what she said. Like when you fall down, when you trying and you fall down, that don't mean you failed. That's you learning. Just like when you learn how to ride a bike. When you fall down, you haven't failed. You just okay, you learning how to balance yourself. You know what I'm saying? You learning how to keep your balance up when you on this bike, and you can get up on that bike and try again. And you'll eventually get it. You know what I'm saying? If you just keep trying. And that's the thing, man. You got to just try and keep learning. Falling down don't mean you failed. That's it.
resources that we've acquired. And that's how I came to look at it over time. And before I went out to his house, when I was still in the sober living, I'd done one thing. I emailed somebody that was looking for a spin teacher because I would go on Craigslist and I would see people hiring for spin teachers. I would do two things if I could get access to internet. I would look at Facebook and I would see all my friends getting married and buying houses because they all did graduate, you know. And I'd go on Craigslist, and if somebody was hiring a fitness instructor, I would like send them an application. I think just to kind of see, because I taught at the Beverly Hills Country Club over here. I taught at like really nice places, and I think I wanted to see if I could still get called. And I'd done that, and this girl called me back, and we set up an interview that I couldn't go to. This is before I'd gone, you know, to kick. And when I came back, I'm in the sober living, and you know, you have to get a job. And I thought, I wonder if that lady would still interview me. And so I reached back out to her and she set up an interview. And I went down and I auditioned and I got a job and I started teaching there once a week. And then that went to 16 classes and I ended up buying that studio at 4 years sober. I owned that studio. So I
Wow.
started cashing my checks out of check.
That's amazing. This is a good story. Yeah, I like good stories like this, man. Success stories. This is dope, man. This lady went from being homeless, on drugs, getting into sober living, getting a job, and ended up owning the place that gave her a shot. That's powerful, man. That ain't nothing but God.
Cash place and no car to at some point obviously moving out of the sober living. A client actually gave me a car, and I've
Yeah,
learned
dope,
that,
dope. That's what
you
happens
know,
when
the
you help
work
yourself.
ethic, because the other thing that
People
I
want
was
to
worried
help
about,
you.
my two biggest fears were getting married. No one's ever gonna fucking marry me. And I've got this terrible credit. I'm never gonna be able to
Let's
buy a
see.
house or like have
She got a
approval,
ring
you know?
on?
And
Oh, she married. Look, she's married. Yeah, somebody will marry you. With that pass, You got a wealth of experience. Yeah, you an asset. People that been through shit, man, them the best life partners in the world, man. You know, like for me anyway, I want somebody that been through shit. You know, my woman who I'm with now, she in nursing school. She about done, man. And to be with her and share with her our lives and to see what she doing right now, you know, we both together we have manifested everything that's happening in our lives. We shared it with each other, and everything's starting to come to fruition. Everything is manifesting itself. And to be with somebody and to be able to share them moments with them, like we shared our dreams and visions, and to start to see it manifest, man, that's the best stuff in the world. And we not perfect. We both, neither one of us, you know, I was like I said, I was married with kids, but that don't define, you know, exactly where I was at. You know what I'm saying? It don't define exactly where my mental was at, where my vision for my life was at. So the woman that I'm with now, I'm able to share in, you know, us cleaning our lives. We able to share it with each other, us cleaning our lives up and being the best versions of us that we can be.
I learned
I
that,
love this. I
and
love
it's a
this.
common
I love
problem
it.
from those addicts, your work ethic and the relationships you make today will determine your future way more than the mistakes of your past.
Real talk.
And a client gave me a car when I had 7 months clean. She didn't even know I was in recovery. And at 7 months, I had
That's
like $1,000 saved, and I went to go look at cars, and I was nowhere near buying a car. You know, when I was
that's dope.
35, you know, and I just was so bummed out. And I remember doing the math on all this, and I was like, I'm not gonna move forward in my life for years, you know. But I was wrong,
No, that's
you know. And
crazy.
in about 7 months, a client, you know,
I just gave a car away to a close, very close. He's family. I say, yeah, he's family. Um, I just gave him a car, and recently it was this year, earlier this year. It's a car, 2008 HHR. I had a '08 HHR sitting at my mother's house. You know, it was some issues with it, but it still ran. And yeah, I gave it to him, and I gave it to him because he was working, and I seen him catching a bus to work, and it was real cold. This was this past winter, and I said, man, this young man is out here catching a bus to work in the winter. I said, you know what? I got this car just sitting over here. Let me let me call him. I had his number. I called him and told him to meet me. Gave him the title. You don't owe me nothing. You know what I mean. Get this car running right for yourself and make it to work. So I'm privileged. I'm so thankful that this young man, he still got this car. He still got this car, man. That car might have changed his life. He got two young kids. He working good. It's looking real good for him. You know that car just helped. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call him soon just to follow up with him and see how he doing. Cause hopefully he got another car. Hopefully he bought a different car. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I just did the same thing, and I helped him because I seen he was helping himself. When you help yourself, people want to help you. When you're not trying to help yourself, no one wants to help you. It's just like if you see somebody on the side of the road pushing a car. I don't know about y'all, but I don't care who they is. If I see a person out pushing their own car in the road, I want to pull over and help this person push their car. If I see a person stranded on the side of the road, just sitting there, I'm most likely not going to try to help that person, push that car to the road. But if you pushing your car, I want to help you push your car. And I noticed that when people see other people trying to help themselves, it be two or three people jump out and try to help you push your car. When they see you pushing by yourself, they want to help you. When you helping yourself, people want to help you. That's how That's how this universe work, you know. So yeah, let's watch a little bit more what this lady saying, man, because she was helping herself. So yeah, of course, someone want to help her, give her a car. Yeah,
Gave me a car after a year and moved out. But there were three like three things really made it different for me this time, I think, from all the other times. And so the first thing, right when I first come back and I was in this sober living, I was in a sober living where I used to use, and I was at the McDonald's, and there was a guy that I used to use with, and he was like, "Hey, where the fuck you been?" And I said, "Oh, around." And he was like, "All right, well, I got a shot for you in here. Come on, get your ass in here." And I was still sick. I was still kind of dope sick. I had like 3 weeks. And I said, "Okay, I'll be right back." And I remember running out of McDonald's, and I like ran up the hill to my sober living, and my house manager was standing outside, and we'd had this really like combative relationship over the years. He kicked me out from living there a couple of times, and I ran up the hill, and I saw him standing there, and I was like, "Steve, I just saw so-and-so at the bathroom and at McDonald's, and he's gonna give me a free shot of heroin." And like, I know I'm not supposed to, but I just keep thinking it's free heroin, like I should go back.
damn.
And he got so mad at me, he like put out a cigarette, and he was like, "That shit isn't free. What has that cost you in your life?
Exactly.
Isn't there reports return on
Ooh,
the back?"
that's it. That's it. You know, free means free equals cost. Nothing, okay, what may be free is a cost to everything. So the cost of her getting some free heroin is she could lose her life. And a lot of the people that I was in rehab with probably got suckered in off the same shit. Somebody offering them some free dope. And the cost to that ended up being their life. The cost to them going back to them drugs ended up being their life, man. They no longer here. A lot of people I was in rehab with are not here no more because they went back to something that they thought was free. It's a cost to what's free. And that's what people got to understand. That fine print costs. Look, I gotta go in a minute, y'all, but I'm gonna play a little bit more of this and I gotta go in like 5 minutes.
I've ever seen a human being make. Like, that isn't free. I can't believe we're even having this conversation. And I said, all right, you're right. It's not free. Fine, okay. And I went up into like the little apartment that I had there, and he followed me like 10 minutes later and said, "I'm not done with you." And I remember thinking, of course you're not done with me. And I said, "Steve," he used to be a crack addict. I was like, "If somebody offered you free crack, I know that you would think about it for a second. You can't tell me that you wouldn't." And before I could even finish, he kind of cut me off and was like, "No, that would never happen to me because I've taken a stand in this community and people know who I am, and that would never happen to me. You have been committed to a criminal and an addict lifestyle for so long. You have to take a stand in this community. Like, you can't ride this line anymore where you're still talking to those guys, but you're also trying to be in recovery. Like, you have to pick a side. You have to take a stand." And what that looked like for me in action was I finally like deleted old contacts from my phone. I took a commitment at a meeting, which I had never, done before. And I was like, no, he's right. Like, I need to be the person that you don't come to me if you relapsed and ask me how to help you beat a drug test. Like, I need to all the way pick a side if I'm going to do this. And then at about 90 days, I had a birthday, and I was turning 35 in this sober living on the couch. No idea, nothing. And I was so depressed. I couldn't believe I was 35, and this was, my life. And everybody in sober living tells you, like, it's okay, you're clean, just, like, focus on that, And I remember thinking, that's not really doing it for me this time, though, because if the Ghost of Christmas Future had, like, floated into the hallway at my high school when I was a senior, and be like, "Hey, Jeannine, I have a crystal ball here. Do you want to see where you're going to be at 35? I was like, "Yes, of course, show me. I'm sure I'm going to be rich and famous and married and live in a mansion. Yes, show me." And if the Ghost of Christmas Future had been like, "Yeah, no, actually, none of that shit's going to happen. But what you will have going for you that day is that you will have 90 days off of heroin, which will be a massive accomplishment for you at that time." I just couldn't get past that, right? Like, I never would have thought this would be my life, and I fucking failed at life. And, like, what is the point of even trying at this point, And I was doing this little meditation. I was doing, like, a gratitude meditation, and I went outside on the deck of this sober living, and I kind of considered my sober living, like, down, and, I as grateful for it as I should have been, you know. And I remember sitting there and I did this meditation, and the meditation that day was on gratitude. And there was this quote from an author, and the quote was, "Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It makes what we have enough and more. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It makes what we have enough and more." That was like the meditation. I did the meditation, I took my headphones out, and I was suddenly like overcome with gratitude that I wasn't dope sick, you know? And I know you've interviewed enough opiate addicts and heroin addicts to know, you hear people talk about being sick, right? And like, for so many years, I had to have $20 just to breathe, you know? Every single day, you wake up like in fear of your own body. It's time bomb. And in that moment, I was just so grateful that I wasn't dope sick. I didn't have to get well, you know? And I was feeling that, and then I noticed there was like this really nice view off of the deck of my soda.
Be the little shit, man.
Like a really beautiful view. And then I realized, well, that didn't just get there. That mountain didn't just get there while I was meditating. That's always been there. I just couldn't see it. And I had this weird thought that, like, did my heroin addiction make me more grateful? Like,
all right, I'm gonna stop this there. I'm gonna end this with the brush of my beard. Man, love how this brush make my beard feel so fluffy. I love this brush. Love a wig brush, man. Ooh, wee. So yeah, man. I'm gonna end this by that was Jeannine on Soft White Underbelly, the newest Jeannine. I think he had a couple other Jeannines on there. I'm gonna add the link to that video in the description of here, where y'all can watch that in full over there at Mark Lata's Soft White Underbelly channel. And I'm gonna take y'all around to show y'all what I'm grateful. Just grateful. I'm grateful for my new home I just bought that I'm in right now. I'm grateful for this yard that I cut. Man, you know, grateful for my view. You know, my driveway. I got dope whips out here. That's my little Uber van. Uber. I'm grateful for this day, man. I prayed today. I got up and I prayed, and you know, I'm just grateful, man. Overall, just grateful. Grateful for this day. Grateful, grateful, grateful. So grateful. Look at my view, y'all. My view. It's my home, you know? It's my home. It's my home. I'm grateful, man. I got dope neighbors. Just grateful. So grateful every day, man. But look, I'm going to leave y'all with that, and I'm out. One.